Warning.
Greetings everybody, and welcome back to Forgotten Media. And hey, would you look at that? Something for both those who want more SML stuff and those who want more Forgotten Media. Oh, and by the way, if you're an SML fan and you like this video, maybe check out some of my other non-SML videos. I think they're pretty cool, honestly. Now before we begin, let's actually talk about that series name. I did get a few comments about this, which was actually nice to hear. It was nice to know that people remembered Melting Man 234. He wasn't my sole inspiration for the series, but that was a small portion of it, such as the name for example. As it turns out, he's actually still making videos, including Forgotten Media. However, YouTube ages ago just stopped even bothering to show me that he would upload, so hey, if you want to go check out the original Forgotten Media, go check out some of Melting Man 234's videos. Now then, with that out of the way, let's talk about SML's website. No, not Logan's current website, which he uses exclusively for his merchandise. I mean his original website, SuperMarioLogan.com. Never heard of it? Well, to be fair, I can't exactly blame many of you, especially those of you who weren't around before the Junior era. In fact, that's why the website is in this series, because it's, well, Forgotten Media. Despite being in SML's theme song, which is another thing I'm sure will throw off at least a few people, I'd argue that the website is relatively unknown amongst the bulk of SML fans anymore. Oh, and don't try going to the website now. More on that towards the end of the video. The website has existed at least as far back as 2009, and we can split it into a few eras: the Flash era, the Static era, the Decline era, and the Collapse era. Let's start fittingly with the very first era. And although nothing can seemingly be recovered from as far back as the very beginning, let's move forward to 2010. In 2010, we actually get signs that this was indeed a website with Flash elements. I swear if this is a recurring theme in this series. Okay, let's see if I can get this working. And alright, there we go. Here's the website. And while it's composed almost entirely of Flash elements, it's actually pretty fun and creative.
Hey Shrek,
in fact,
to
spoil things for you, while I was more familiar with the website's later design, this design has become my favorite. Something about his 2000s Flash charm I really enjoy. My one complaint is that a lot of the things you can hover over on the site make noises, which can get a bit annoying if you hover over a bunch of things in rapid succession.
Stop! Anyway, to Logan and all his fans, please. What happened after that, please? We may never know.
Hey, I'm Toad.
Hi, Toad.
Please don't kill me!
Alright, shut up, Toad. If I had remembered this, I would say this is probably one of my... Oh my gosh. Stop. But I would say this is, just interactivity-wise, it's probably one of my favorite... You know what? Never mind. I hate it.
Otherwise, though, this is a great site. With that being said, there isn't much more I can really show you from this version of the website, because most of the stuff on there that wasn't the homepage wasn't archived from what I could tell. Next, we move on to the static era of the website. This version of the website is much simpler, aiming for a more sleek design, unfortunately doing away with a lot of what I thought made the website fun. Don't get me wrong, this website isn't bad by any means, it's just a bit boring. Also, this site pretty clearly wasn't updated all that often, because some small elements begin breaking, such as the slideshow on the front page for a while having Black Yoshi and the bird shown twice in a row for some reason.
New SML series, click to watch. You know what? Let's try that. Click here to watch. Well, actually, when we said click here to watch, we actually meant click here to pull up a PNG file. Oh man, look at this Shrek image. Wow. Of all the characters, why does Mario look the worst? Play the world's hardest game. Oh my god. Oh my god, I better start playing, like, Sound System Dreamscape or whatever, because, this is... This is the true 2011 experience. Let's go.
A few moments later.
I think I've gotten distracted. So, let me get this straight. You must draw or make a picture. So, the best prize requires the least effort. This is literally, hey, if you wanna win, just spam. That's Falco. Falco, what are you doing here? Icon is what shows everyone how beast SML is. Why did he like beast? Like, did I miss out on something? The icon is not meant. That was so funny with Shrek. How do you spell Shrek wrong?
While there are still interesting things to find on the site, this one's just decent. Which is a shame to say, since this was the one I definitely saw the most often for a while there. I will say, however, that this is the last time that Logan's site was ever well and truly decent. The next version of the site begins the decline era of Logan's website. Why? Well, just look at it. It's incomplete, it was never well and truly finished, and the design is just boring. Even more boring than before.
It's boring!
This isn't like the old site where it was simple but at least well designed. I feel like this was Logan's attempt to make the site look better and more modern, but he gave up halfway through. I don't get why he couldn't have just kept the old design and modified it a bit. But don't you worry, the decline continues as well, because after a while we started to just get redirects to the YouTube channel. So I mean, hey, that's pretty cool. After that though, we got the under construction site where Jeffy has taken over the site. This lasted for a while, especially when Logan was getting demonetized. And when Logan thought there was a serious risk of him losing monetization again, we moved into the final era, the collapse. The collapse era started off when Logan was getting demonetized, and he really tried to push for the site for a short while. And look, I don't think that's necessarily awful. However, let's talk about the site designs real quick. It's pretty boring. Sure, not as bad as literally incomplete, but that doesn't make it much better. Come on, at least add some sort of background design instead of just generic dark theme. Although, perhaps that's more of a problem I have with modern web design in general. But hey, that's the only problem, right? Well, no. I wouldn't be calling this the collapse era if there wasn't something much worse. First of all, there are ads on the page, and I don't mean regular ads. Some of them were literal images that were baked into the website. I also remember when this first launched that we had some malicious ads, which would show up as an invisible link across the entire page when you first landed on the website. Again, some of these were malware. Haha, whoops. Logan eventually got those removed, but the whole malware situation just left a bad impression. And even then, the rest of the website was fine, I guess. But at this point, the charm was gone, and no one even cared anymore. Not even Logan, who quickly stopped bothering to even update the site. The website managed to barely crawl its way into 2019 before being pulled offline, and it has only redirected to various dead pages since. Also, I'd be careful, since while when I last checked it redirects to a blank page, it wouldn't surprise me if it redirects to something malicious in the future. Well, Logan's website used to be cool. In fact, Logan's videos and Logan in general used to be cool. And back when Logan's website was cool, there were some fun things you could find there. The things we'll be highlighting here include a song you could download and 2 games. Let's start with the song.
We're the Angry Birds! Squad! We're the Angry Birds! Angry Birds, Angry Birds! We're the Angry Birds! Squad! Angry Birds!
This is simply the Angry Birds theme song from Black Yoshi and the Birds. The only difference is that this is a higher quality version of the song than one would normally hear, with this being a 320 kilobit per second MP3, while the YouTube upload is at most 152 kilobits per second in M4A, so you might hear a bit more auditory detail. Strangely enough, it's called Angry No Tony 1, which not only sounds like the name to a Black Yoshi and the Birds anime, but also sort of implies that there would be a version of the theme with Tony. Still, a pretty neat find. Then we have two games. One is the Mr. Potato Head and Friends game, which... yup, it sure is a Flash game, alright. I'm pretty sure this game was made for one of Logan's classes, and for what it's worth, it's a competently made game. Not much to it, but it's decent enough for what it is. Oh, also, I just now saw Mr. Potato Head disassemble himself, so that was interesting. Also, Logan, you get bonus points for the Windows 98 sound effects. Now then, let me introduce you to, this entity, and this entity, and finally, this one. Now then, on to the next game. This one is called Space Roll, complete with beautiful widescreen support. This is a top-down movement game where you guide this ball creature through each level. Doesn't sound too difficult, right? Well, yeah, the first portion of it isn't too difficult, but after a while, this game gets a bit challenging, shall we say. The music looping like this really isn't helping. And the music plays like that for the entire game. Luckily, most of the game is fairly intuitive, just a bit tedious at times. And when you get to the end, yeah, there's nothing. Also, the black hole somehow slows down in frame rate when you win, despite there being less on screen. And that was SML's old website. Pretty interesting to look back on in my opinion, but let's get back to discussing just how forgotten this is. As a reminder for those who are new here, this will show a range of just how forgotten something is, ranging from extremely common to a point where nearly everyone should know about it, all the way to basically unheard of. And I'd have to place this somewhat into unknown territory. Don't get me wrong, the place wasn't exactly a secret, but for a lot of people, they wouldn't know about most or all of this. And that goes doubly so for things like the games. The experience that a lot of newer SML fans would have had with this website would have either been a blank page or maybe the collapse era one. And that's a shame because I think the old websites were honestly pretty cool. But that's all for now. Thank y'all for watching, and take care.